I'm Julianna Forlano. We are here in Denver, Colorado at the National Conference for Media Reform. I'm here with Davey D, longtime hip-hop activist, media activist, and also a host of a show right here on this network on FSTV. How you doing?
And don't forget Denzel Washington lookalike.
Oh, yes. Well, that was clearly obvious.
I mean, a lot of people get it confused. I'm Dave. He's Denzel.
So you're speaking on a panel today.
Yeah, we are doing a panel on race, media coverage, and Obama, in the age of Obama.
I'm sure there won't be anything to talk about in that.
Well, I think it was a waste of time because there is no racism in America.
Well, according to Fox News, you are correct.
You know,
yes.
and
I'm sure you've never faced any racism.
No, and it's not a whole lot of it being talked about in media.
Yeah.
So
right.
I think seriously, this race right now is political football, and I think in a conference like this, we most of the time react and see how it emerges when it's used in an adversarial way, usually by the far right. But I think the untold story and what we're going to have to deal with is that it's also used as a political football very strategically to get people to circle around the wagons to the point that we don't self-examine and self-criticize policies and things that may be problematic. So,
say more about that.
Well, you know, a perfect example would be what happened this weekend. So Barack Obama makes a remark about Kamala Harris, and a firestorm ensues.
It was the kind of remark about her physicality.
Right. It was, yeah. And
Kamala Harris is a politician from
the Bay Area, right. And, you know, the truth of the matter is that he was paying a bunch of compliments during his speech. You know, like, your grandkids are good. You look better than me. So
you
that
was,
great yeah. So it was just one of those things. But it took on racial overtones real quick. And many people rallied, and you saw blogs and panels and a lot of discussion. And I mean, and some of the points that were brought out, I think, are warranted. You know, what does it mean when you have somebody do that, et cetera, et cetera. But what was overlooked was the fact that he put Social Security to the tune of $112 billion on the table to be cut. You know,
right.
And
what are the ramifications to different races about that?
And I thought that was more important. But because there was a reflexive reaction to circle around the troops, I raised the question, was that something that he deliberately did?
And everything stopped.
And
right?
everything stopped.
Right.
And so I think we can't afford to do that at this point. And there has to be a very critical look at what does it mean when somebody you know is a racist, who has made no bones about being a racist, then acts on a racial tip. So I already know that Fox or Bill O'Reilly or Sean Hannity or whatever, I know that they're going to go that direction. What does that really have to do with what I may need to be doing in my community? If we have police brutality issues, I don't care what they say at this point in time. What I do care about is changing policy and attacking the problem on an institutional level versus getting bogged down on an individual level.
It's like principles.
Well, it's not some
personalities.
Yeah. You know, that's a better way of looking at that.
You can't legislate against someone being a racist, but you can have structures in place that mitigate their ability to, cut down another group. Is that what you're saying?
But it makes for a convenient tool when you happen to maybe want to cover up your own dirt. So, you know, look, this is what's happening. So we all run down there, and it's like, wait a second, you did A, B, C, and D. This is problematic. But we can't talk about it now because there's all this attack coming from
about these issues that aren't even really substantive.
Right.
So you're part of the independent news media. This is the National Conference for Media Reform. What role do you think that independent media plays in either forwarding or hindering these issues?
I think that's something that needs to be dissected as well, because what is independent media at this point in time? Everybody's independent media in the sense that you don't really have any centralized type of media as you did maybe even 10 years ago. Yeah, you have a network, but everybody can tweet and everybody can Facebook and everybody blogs. So do I really get my information from ABC and CBS anymore? I probably get it from what's being tweeted. And And so to that degree...
Do you think that's a function of you being from a minority community?
No, I think there's a lot of folks that are looking and they're saying a corporate agenda on the larger platforms is being pushed. And that corporate agenda manifests itself in constant salesmanship versus
substantive.
Substantive type of conversation. I mean, I use this example all the time. You turn on the Today Show, and we're in the middle of a recession, and they'll have a segment on, let's talk about the $800 a night, hotel that you can get on this, expensive getaway to Hawaii. And you're sitting there going, well, who does that apply to? You look around and go, it doesn't apply to me. So I think for like a lot of black and brown folks, we go, that ain't for us. And I don't know what, I don't know if there's just one white thought, but I would imagine a lot of white folks that are sitting there in a recession are going, what the hell? That's not me either. I mean, it might be confusing because they might think, well, that should be me. But the point is that it's not speaking to a whole lot of folks. And I think
that's actually kind of, it's going to be a unifying factor that can bring people together. None of us can afford that $800 trip to wherever.
If we know that that's the case, because maybe in theory I'm looking and saying that applies to you. Because I've just seen a whole lot of $800 commercials that would suggest that you're the one that's benefiting from it.
Right.
And you're sitting there going, that ain't me.
Right.
And you might be looking and going, there's a lot of Jay-Z's and a lot of Oprahs in your part of town, so maybe that's you guys. So I think what we're at now is that we have to start developing purposeful relationships so that folks are very familiar with the backgrounds and the customs and mores from different communities, and I don't think that's been happening enough.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
Okay.
Where can the people find you?
You can catch me on kpfa.org. That's one of the stations that's where I originate Hard Knock Radio out of. You can catch me here on Free Speech on OLM News, and you can catch me on my next movie. Denzel did Flight, and I'm doing the movie Flown.
Ooh.
See,
I can't wait.
So it's going to be a little confusion, but your Denzel Washington lookalike, I'm out for now. Peace.
I'm Julianna Forlano. You're watching Free Speech TV.